Hey, welcome to the Blue Jay Banner post-game show. We're live here at Let It Fly Sports Bar after the Jays' 80-69 win over Providence. Here, as always, with my partner, Austin Chapman. How you doing, Austin?
Doing well. How are you?
Made it down here okay?
Yes, sir.
I did too.
A little slick out there, but
roads aren't too bad. But looks like the women's crowd was hurt by the weather as far as the crowd in here tonight too. But we had a few enthusiastic fans cheering the Jays on. Hey, thanks so much for watching on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe and like button. We're growing every day. I met with Max, our media intern, and he was showing me all the statistics, and we're going off the charts, so we really appreciate it. We also, thanks for the comments on the sound. We're working through something. We think we have it better than it is, but it's not perfect. But we're working on it, and hopefully it will take care of itself, and we will have it. By the way, if you're listening, if you're tuning in like a day later, you're not watching this live, we have a live version. We also have, tomorrow morning, we'll have up just a regular video version of it. And there it's a cleaner program and so forth. So if you're just tuning in later on the next day, go to that one. I think you'll like the quality a little bit better. I want to thank our sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care and Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Your thoughts on the 80-69 win?
Decent win tonight. Definitely always great to pull some out on the road. I think they've won the last 3 of their 4 home games. This one being their, fourth. Just great team effort, of course, but two-head monster looked good tonight.
Yeah, it really did.
Ash and Kalk looked amazing. Kalk kind of got off to a slower start, but
right.
We continued to feed him the ball, which is, great to see.
Yeah. Heads up, volume seems good, so I hope everybody's able to hear us just fine. Yeah, obviously it helped when they got that huge foul trouble. They really only have one true big. Then they play a guy who's a 4 a lot, 4-5 combo.
Yep.
DeLorean or whatever his name is, and he just couldn't handle Kalk inside. And then they basically went with a dude who's hardly played at all, and then another guy looked like kind of he was a walk-on, and those two guys couldn't handle the screen and roll at all. So we really had him in a grinder there in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, got him some tough foul trouble, definitely. That put him in a pickle there, but that's just kind of when we took the lead, I think.
But our comment, we have a couple comments. One was we were talking, man, Providence was hit some elite shots.
High-level shots. I think that's just kind of some of the players they have to just hit, tough shots, hand and face, deep threes, mid-range, floaters, but we were playing great defense, at the end of the day. So they shot it at a decent clip, too, and still came up, what they did. And, it's just credit to Mac. They're more or less just keep building off of each game. And today was just more or less a certain dominance, I think.
Yeah, we were only 8 of 31 from 3.
Right.
But they were 11 for 26. So, if we could have just, I know Fedor missed a few wide open looks. If he could knock 1 or 2 of those down, it'd make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
But the big thing tonight, 18 to 21 from the free throw line.
Yep.
And again, we're debating. There's been a debate going on the last couple of weeks over on BlueJayBanner.com on the message board. The point guards we've had, Chapman and Zagorowski and Ryan Sears and Ashworth and on and on and on. And the one thing we have with Steven is when that ball's in his hand at the end of the game and he gets fouled.
It's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
He gets fouled on the three-pointer. Boom, that's 3 points.
Sure thing. And only 5 turnovers.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Granted, we were kind of, harping on that, but to go out with only 5 turnovers in that, I think that's something to just walk away proud for.
And they had 10. So there you go.
Right. So
reboundings were dead even. So, yeah, just a gutty win on the road. They hit, like I said, hit some tough shots. They had some balls bounce on the rim 3 or 4 times to drop through. I mean, things were going well for them, and we somehow overcame that.
Yep. Just playing good energy. They were playing with, pretty good energy, but I think we're just playing at a high level right now. Guys believe in them as a unit, and Fedor, as we saw, getting a little more tick today. His confidence is definitely going to grow over time as he gets his legs. I think a lot of that just not being as in condition yet and finally getting his game legs, which, I think this was the most minutes he's played yet, I would have to say, right? And, meaningful minutes I just think they're only going to get better.
And I think that was basically because of their three guards.
Yeah.
Getting tough, making tough shots, all able to hit threes. So we needed another guy out there with some decent size in Fedor that could go out, guard him on the perimeter a little bit, and also carry that physicality that they were bringing to us.
Absolutely. But, yeah, nothing too much more to say there. It's just, I'm just happy to see the boys, take care of business and, get ready for kind of what we got going on the next 3-4 games here. So,
yeah, I mean, this could have been real easy to look by this one, real easy.
Absolutely.
After that big win at Villanova. But, hey, they kept their head down and did the job. And now, as Austin said, now it's on, man. It is on. Marquette Saturday, 1 o'clock on Big Fox at home. And then follow that up Tuesday night with a home game against UConn. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, people. We better have an overflow, packed house, loud fans both nights.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned about the first one because Marquette's lost 2 in a row, and you're like, man, that's a good team to be able to beat 3 times in a row. Obviously not us, but the 3 teams, and that scares me a little. They're and they've got the extra day too because they played last night.
Right.
So, but they did basically play a football game last night. So it was 40 intense minutes.
Yep. They need a little extra rest.
Yeah. And then we're not done with the high quality games before Saturday. Friday night, UConn and St. John's play. So a UConn win and a win by Creighton Saturday would put the Jays in a tie for first place with St. John's, but technically we would have the tiebreaker. So there we go.
It's looking good. It's looking good. We're in control of the destiny, right?
I was talking to you about something Nick Boss said. I'll bring that up later, but he also said he's as surprised as anybody. Like he goes, if you'd have told me Pop was going out, he goes, there's no way I would have thought this team would be where they are right now.
I don't know. I think that's just
looking. I think that's looking November 1st on paper. You know what I mean?
That's on paper, I think we have some pretty high level athletes. Finally that, and more so that it's the unit. And like you see the chemistry.
You brought
honestly.
that up many times. Yeah.
And that's what matters. At the end of the day, you could have all the talent in the world, but if they're not, cohesive as a unit, then it won't really matter what the talent is.
And I'm not saying Baylor or Trey were bad teammates, not at all. No. To the contrary. No. But Steven kind of took a little bit of a backseat, because he was a new guy.
Absolutely.
This year, he is a 100% coach on the floor all the time.
Leadership form. And as you kind of touched on, he's stepped up in a lot of different ways, whether that be conditioning, whether that be, leadership role, whether that being just being confident in the offense, where now I think he knows where his shots are going to come from, finding his spots, and just, being okay with making mistakes, and that's kind of why I just think some games we do see the higher turnovers than usual, but that's just him being beyond comfortable in Mac's offense and the role that he's in. So, I just hope that he just keeps playing at that level, and, the turnover is going to happen, but, he's able to manage them at a good rate. So
yeah, and what we're talking about, Nick also said his conditioning is just at an elite level because he said, like, when he's doing games, it's not just he passes the ball. He may not be in the camera angle, but he is running nonstop, going off screens. And,
absolutely, and coming off.
And then defensively tonight, you saw what he had to do every time down the floor is fight over those screens.
And it was physical. And a lot of that takes a lot out of you. Like we saw last game, right, where Dixon more or less had to put effort into guarding Kalk and had no legs on the offensive end. But Mac touched on that this offseason and just seeing, Ash conditioning more or less improve. And the ankle kind of set him back a little bit. And I think he's finally getting back to feeling confident in that ankle and then that leg. But just being, back to who he was really to start the season.
Let's get a shout out into our sponsor, Care Miners Home Health Care. They've been a terrific sponsor of the postgame show since they've been here at Let It Fly. I want to thank Jim and everybody over there at Care Miners. And, when you're in need of care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, reach out to Care Miners Home Health Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and well-being. And the time might not be ready for you right now, but it will at some point, whether it be a sibling, a mother, a father, what have you. So check out everything they have to offer, and you can go to NebraskaCareMiners.com. CareMinersNebraska.com. CareMinersNebraska.com. Check out everything they have to offer. And then, when you're ready, you can give them a call at 402-532-1383. That's 402-532-1383. I'm trying to think of, outside of those two tonight, because obviously Kalk had a monster game.
Right.
Who, I don't think Jemiah maybe had. Jemiah kind of got it going late, which was big.
But that was more or less just him doing what he does and just staying consistent, and not, understanding that game wasn't more or less just wasn't a game where he needed to put his imprint on the game. For me, it's Zugic, in all honesty, 0 of 6, which to me that would mean too much, especially where he's kind of coming into the fold and getting used to the unit. But I might be jumping the board, but my unsung hero is Zugic in a lot of ways.
Let's do unsung hero. Zugic?
That's kind of, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 foul, 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on that one because 22 minutes, that's big.
That's large. It's large, and especially where we are right now and going into where we're about to, get into some of these trenches. I think he's going to provide valuable here over the next 3-4 games.
I'm going to go with you on that one. So Fedor Zugic is our unsung hero. I told people this is a big-time trap game for Nebraska. Big-time trap game. And Washington almost has them doubled up halfway through the first half. So, it's going to be interesting.
I hear you. We can't say too much. We've lost them. So I see throw no shade to Nebraska this year.
I see a lot of.
They got it.
More than most years, there's a lot of Twitter fights between Creighton fans and Nebraska fans, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like jumping in sometimes going, hey, Creighton fans.
Yeah. Relax.
Whatever you say is true, but you got to eat this one.
Yeah, you have to. Have to.
I know we've beaten them, 25 out of 30 times. I get it but we didn't beat them this year, okay?
Didn't beat them this year.
They're fighting for their lives to get in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
We're pretty safely in, okay? So there you go.
Which bodes well for everybody, I think, at the end of the day. So,
there you go.
Their little bragging rights. Good for them. Good for them.
Let's not overlook Jackson tonight. Beginning of the game, hit 2 big threes to kind of get us going.
Absolutely. Yeah, just kind of got the pace moving a little bit. And it just proved his confidence, I think, too, right? He's kind of had a struggle over the past 3-4 games or so, just trying to find his rhythm and things of that nature where, to hit those first 2, there definitely was a heat check not too long after that. But a freshman that's still putting that assertive effort there and being confident on, letting that thing fly, which is a motto, but also doing things at a defensive end, which I think go unseen. But also just
I
his,
thought there was a couple of possessions he really
where he is and the stage of things and the growth that only is just going to come from that. A lot of, I don't, it's a large shoes to fill, but it's real reminiscent of a guy that I know.
And you can clearly see, too, what the weight room's going to do for him next year.
Not even that.
He's got to get stronger.
Everybody said the same thing with Doug, though. Everybody said the same thing with Doug.
On those 3-footers, though.
I hear you.
He doesn't go up with much confidence.
Everybody said the same thing with Doug. And it was more or less him getting used to the speed of play, the physicality, yeah, you're going to put on a few pounds that, you're actually able to move with. But I just think he's honestly not I don't think he has too much more weight to put on.
I don't know.
Right?
Maybe Doug
he's going to
didn't
fill
weigh
out
as
and
much,
cut
but Doug
a little
looked
bit.
a little bigger than Jackson
He
did.
did, but he didn't. Just go look at that freshman year. Go look at that freshman year.
I can't get past his
Bracket
face because he looks like
busters.
he's 14.
What did Doug look like as a
No,
freshman?
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Doug.
they both do though.
Yeah, when I
both
go
do.
on the thing, look at him like
They both do.
Doug looks so
Yeah,
young.
and it's kind of split an image and just kind of some of his movements. I'm very high on McAndrews.
I am too. I'm very high on him. I'm
and
just saying, if he gets some weight, a little more physicality in his legs, legs is where he needs it to power up on those. Kind of like Trout.
That could be.
Trout had a good off year in Virginia where he gained some weight.
That's true.
And when he got here, he was more developed from the weight standpoint.
True. I guess that is true. I think it's conditioning.
Could be. I'll go with you. I'm going to defer to you on that.
I think it's conditioning.
Yeah.
And not being at the level that maybe he should be.
The other thing, too, is, I'm sure in high school he didn't have this feeling, but I kind of get the sense that a lot of times when freshmen come in, and they're shooters, okay?
Right.
Pick whoever you want, whatever position. They hit 2 in a row, and then they're almost like on that third one, they either rush it a little bit or or their form just gets off because they're like, well, I got to make another one, and they know that making 3 in a row is a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that
just comes with experience.
That was kind of his issue at the beginning of the year. There was times where he'd catch wide open ones and more or less rush them because he hit just one before that, and more or less, short arm in it, T-Rex arm in it. And that's just kind of some of that heat check for most guys anyways. They feel the basket is larger than what it generally is, right? So perception is a little bit different because you got a better feel per se. But I just think, that was that hit 2 in a row, searching for the third one, found it. Now it's like, all right, I'm just go ahead and launch it from hands. And if that goes in, then conscious is unconscious, I guess, at that point. But that's just kind of the game, right? And get caught in the game, especially of the way it started for him.
And I've seen Trout had some of that last year. This year, I don't feel he has it.
Right.
He'll make 4 in a row. He
Right.
doesn't care,
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just experience, and that's kind of what I'm saying, and just touching on there. I just think over time, he'll get used to more or less hitting 2 in a row, get into a place. So maybe I should pump fake this 3, maybe even get a quick little easy two-pointer, get all the way to the rim. Just certain things of that, watching film, of course, and just watching comparables. I think that's where he's going to truly expand. I don't think he really has to do too much in the weight room.
Let's get to worst call tonight before we talk about discount window and door and then get to some chats. So explain, I didn't know what was happening on that technical of Kalkbrenner. You seem to have a little grasp on it.
Yeah. He'd been getting bumped, the beginning of the game, and it just was physical, right? And refs weren't calling too much. There were a couple that they maybe could have blew the whistle. It was a lob to the rim. The guy kind of backed him out. He finished under the basket, basically touched the stand there. And then on his way back onto the court, he made a pretty, I just think he yelled, "Come on," at the ref, but it was directly at him. One, that's not something you generally see from Kalkbrenner. 2, that ref just kind of might have had a bad day today because he called 2 of them.
It's the same crew that we had in Villanova.
Yeah. And, I think refs are human too, and once they start seeing success, right, they start maybe sometimes calling judgment
and so,
calls.
So what did he say? Because the camera wasn't on.
He said,
"Come on." But when he got to the other end, he might have said something.
It was by the time he had crossed half. He yelled at him. I think the ref was already initially calling it because and then more or less by the time he had crossed.
Because then Ashworth ran out there really fast, like, "Hey, no." Because
I think Ash saw the ref was already kind of following Kalk up the court, and I think he saw what was happening.
And I think so. Matt kind of got on him a little bit, and then got on the refs, and then that's probably why we got the one for slamming the ball. Well, technically, that's a technical.
No, that's a technical.
But I mean, the ref hesitated though. He hesitated.
He did.
And then I think he went, Yeah, I got to do
He
it
did.
because
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Had the first one not been called, I don't know if that
Yeah.
one's called
Yeah,
at all.
because you could say the ball just slipped out of my hand or whatever, but yeah.
No, but he slammed that one.
Oh,
Which
yeah, he did.
That's a by rule and definition.
No,
that's
no,
a technical.
He did, but I've seen guys like try to pound it and catch it.
No,
and
no,
then
no.
They
He
miss
didn't
it.
do that though.
No,
He went with one
no,
hand, and
I'm trying to.
it was a that one was a full
trying to
slam.
help Oswald.
No,
here.
I
He's
hear
only
you.
a freshman.
I hear you,
know?
but yeah, he got to his head a
Yeah,
little bit.
no.
Emotions got to him.
And wow, getting fouled on that 3 at the end of the
That's
first
huge.
half. That was
It was just a heady play.
Huge.
Just heady play.
Yeah.
Heady play. Heady play.
And the guy's probably not going to block Kalk's shot.
Not gonna block it, but clearly Cox been shooting at a high clip. So, there's reason now to start closing out to the big fella.
Hey, we want to talk to you about Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Fabulous sponsors. They have trusted reputation with years of industry experience and a solid reputation for excellence. They've earned the trust and loyalty of many people, including myself, and they just have a fabulous system of how they go from step 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way through. Guy comes out, shows you everything they have. They measure your windows, then the installers come out, measure again, and they take any questions from you that you may have about the whole process. The windows come, boom, they pop them in. They're in and out of your house in no time. And then they'll do follow-up with you as well to make sure everything is perfect. And there's the before and after of my house. So check them out. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha, 402-884-8989. That's 402-884-8989. It's getting to be springtime. You want to have nice, beautiful windows for the summer. Give them a call. It'll help tons on your energy efficiency as well. And make sure when you call them, say you heard it here on Blue Jay Banner. All right, let's get to the chats. Ryan says, what's the difference in being able to get the ball, getting Kalk the ball? We struggled during that stretch. Giving him a touch really turned it around. I'm not sure if he's referring to stretch of games early in the season or a stretch tonight.
I'm gonna have to infer he's talking about stretch of games where Kalk basically was scoring lower, below 10 points. It's clear when we make an assertive effort to get him the ball that generally not only do we win, but he scores 20 and plus, and he generally dominates. I think a lot of that early on, Pop went out, guys were trying to find roles, find space, find their identity in a lot of ways. That kind of what we do and the team we have somewhat got lost in that.
Yeah.
Right. And now I just think it's chemistry. You're just finally seeing guys are knowing where to give Kalk the ball in the post, how to make that post entry, when to throw that late pass, when to throw the early lob. They're all starting to get a little more comfortable with it. It definitely doesn't look as good when anybody else is throwing it other than Ash, but it's starting to get to a place, though, of where that being, more or less one of their first places to look when, they're in desperation. Because generally, most times than not, he's going to have the mismatch, right? And all you got to do is throw it up there. He has great hands. He's going to go catch it. And that's why we do see some that maybe are, some passes that you wouldn't generally throw to a Fred or
Isaac tonight.
Right. Just because, big fella has amazing hands and
amazing wingspan,
amazing feet, and he's able to kind of, maybe if he doesn't go up and put it at the rim, he's able to control it, come down with it, make a pretty good pass out of that situation, if he's not able to score it. But that's just a luxury to have right now.
I wish everybody had tape of him when he was a freshman and versus now.
Oh, yeah.
How much slowed down he is and how much time he takes,
A lot of work.
And I think that some of that is kind of rubbed off on Fred. Fred's kind of slowed way down from what he used to do too,
Yeah, and especially when you're going against that in practice, you have no, have no other option what to learn.
I think the other thing too is tonight was maybe a little bit of a mismatch, or not mismatch, a matchup deal.
Problems, definitely.
Yeah, because Oswin's a freshman,
and he's the one who needs to put on weight. If I'm saying anybody, especially if you're talking of. He's pretty individual
big kid for a freshman,
like
though.
Kalk, though, right?
Well, sure.
Right. Not saying there's too many of those, but definitely got a little weight to put on, but also just a little more inexperience, right? So was able to, get put in some bad positions and pick up some bad fouls at times that, you know, just made some heady plays.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Ryan, for the chat. So here's where we stand. St. John's in first place. We're a game back. And then 2 games back now are UConn and Marquette are tied.
Yep.
Both with 3 losses. So now the flip side of this is going to be, I think I have that right. Are we tied with Marquette? I don't think we are. Let me double check. Here we go. All right.
Marquette's 9 and 3.
I got it right.
Yep.
Yeah, Marquette and UConn are tied for third, basically in the loss column. UConn's played 1 less game. Marquette's So St. John's 11-1, Creighton 10-2, Marquette 9-3, UConn 8-3. Then Xavier now has busted out of that 4-way tie into 6-6, and rightly so. We think they're easily the 5th best team. And then now it's Villanova 5-6, Georgetown, Providence 5-7. Butler with a win tonight. They smashed.
Cooley, though, I did see his clip. He was talking some good there.
I looked for that last night. There was nowhere to be found. Right before the show, I happened to see it. So after the show, I gotta watch it.
So that's keeping me entertained for sure.
Butler kind of busting out of that logjam at the bottom now. They're 3-9. They're only 2 games out of that 5-7. They've played all the top teams, so they could make a run and get into that middle pack before it's over. They look great tonight. Obviously played a depleted and not very good Seton Hall team. But this sets up everything on for the next 3 games. We have 2 at home, Marquette and UConn, and then 1 on the road a week from Saturday at Madison Square Garden. Sunday at Madison Square Garden. So
tough.
We got to take them one at a time, and that's what this team has been doing.
Yep.
So it's just been really good. So let's start off with Marquette.
Absolutely. 1 game at a time.
What's your biggest worry about going against Marquette?
Marquette coming in and playing like Marquette is
so well put.
I think they're honest. I honestly think they're going to be the deciding factor, and I think they beat themselves. Right? You said they've basically have lost 2 in a row.
Yep.
Of course, understanding what this season means to them and some of the players they have, they're coming in with a lot of edge. So. There might be an X factor that maybe wasn't even on the scouting report or wasn't even on, some of the film that maybe we have seen. So I just think it's a dangerous game in a lot of ways.
Right.
And granted, it's at home, and we haven't had too many of those as of late. But I just think it's going to be a fun environment. It's at 1. I wish it was a later game, evening game. But
at least it's not 11 o'clock.
No, I know. I hear you. But
I think it starts with Cam Jones. When you game line, that's the first guy you got to look at. But man, they've got why can't I think of his name? Stevie, the guard. Probably, if Kalk wasn't in the league, he'd be Defensive Player of the Year.
That's what I named the other day. Then
why can't I think of his name?
Mitchell.
Yeah, Stevie Mitchell.
Yep.
He would be Defensive Player of the Year if Kalk wasn't in there. Yep. He's a tremendous defensive player. He's probably a guy that we're okay with. He can make the 3, but we're okay with him because Joplin, obviously Cam Jones, and then Joplin's an excellent 3-point shooter. Mm-hmm. Now, where we might have a little edge is down low.
Fair.
They don't have a traditional true big man. And I think, too, with, our starting line, we match up pretty well with Gold.
Yep.
Where a lot of teams don't have a guy his size that plays the 4. We do. We have several of them. Okay. So I think that part of it's good, but he seems to be able to slip and get open against us, and you've got to be aware of that. I worry the other thing, like we're talking about Mitchell. So we're going to have to take care of the ball because Marquette likes to get in passing lanes and deflections.
Yeah, I guess that was I was going to say I was worried about turnovers.
Yeah.
And I think if they get us past 12 or so, then it's a game that can go either way.
Yep.
So
if we have 5 like tonight, we're going to be in really good shape.
absolutely. But if we shoot 25%, I don't know if we're in really good shape.
But we're at home, so maybe
But the other thing,
the other thing is too, though, like Marquette, kind of. I don't look at them as a high turnover team. I don't know what the stats are. They had a ton against St. John's. Now that's St. John's, because St. John's comes with in-your-face
and they
defense.
played at home.
Yeah.
And he just got them playing a little bit different right now.
Bad ones, like they were throwing the ball and there was not a guy within 10 feet of it.
They were being pressured though. It was physical. It was a true biggest game. You could tell Patino was leading those guys, but they just played great. Kadari played amazing. And I just think they, as a unit, too, there was a few clips that you saw on defense where their rotations were, some things that, most coaches show on film as this is how our rotations should look. And they were just picture perfect in a lot of ways that, just playing at a really high level right now.
Yep. So what a huge game this is going to be. And then, we win this one. If we win this one, then we can worry about Tuesday night in UConn, and hey, we're in their heads. Come on. Although McNeely, I think they're talking like he could be back on Friday night against St. John's, which would be a huge boost to them. If he is, then he changes their team. He does change their team.
But you could say that, but when you're bringing somebody back from injury, right? It's the same thing with Zugic, right? We brought him in. Granted, it wasn't injury, but he'd been around the team. He'd been playing, and it's just always different when you try to integrate somebody that hadn't been maybe in the lineup, especially as you're building chemistry in what, you're in the middle of this conference now. Might not look the same. When he was there before injury, prior to injury. So I honestly think when you're the opponent and a guy comes back in, then it's just one of my, additives that I always felt we had the upper hand, where hey, this is a guy who might be one of the leading scorers, rebounders, you name it, influential guys. But when they're getting inserted into a lineup that they haven't been into, for a matter of a couple weeks, and the team now is playing at a different pace and kind of have figured out a different groove, it's with anything from the NBA down all the way down to amateurs.
It's just that they were rolling until he got injured, and then they've taken a step back.
That's what happens.
Yeah. So anyway, but we're jumping ahead of ourselves. We got to worry about Marquette first, because if we don't take care of Marquette, then maybe that UConn game isn't as big, and the St. John's game isn't as big. Right. So you've got to take care of business against Marquette on Saturday, and it's going to be no easy task. Like, they've lost 2 in a row, so they're going to come in here giving us their best shot, and they have many times come in here and give us their best shot. So. Well, thanks for everybody for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. We'll be right back here, 3:15-ish, 3:30-ish Saturday afternoon to do the post-game show. I'm sure it'll be a packed house in here, and I'm sure it'll be a packed house at CHI on Saturday. So can't wait. Fired up about the game. I know you are too. So follow us on Twitter at BlueJayBanner, and go to BlueJayBanner.com for all coverage leading up to the big game on Saturday. We'll see you on Saturday.